And he's with us 3 years. And his first 3, and he's full time. And his first 3 years combined, he earned $24,000. Half a year spread out over 3 years. Is that dude a dud? A dud or a stud? He's a stud, but he's acted like a dud his first 3 years. So some of you that, well, I gotta have high standards, and I don't want to waste my time with guys that are only doing that and that really aren't trying hard and aren't working hard to it. Like, you run a guy like that right out of your business. But a smart leader just keeps encouraging them, loving on them, keeps them coming back to meetings, keeps building them up, and sooner or later they can pop into and become a 20%er. Small-minded leaders don't have time for them, don't pay any attention to them, ignore them, treat them harshly, because the small leader is so frustrated with the 80%er because the 80% is a reflection of them. That they need the 80%er to do more because they're not willing to do more as a leader. And so they get impatient with them. A strong leader goes, hey, I got all the time in the world for these guys. I got all the love, all the encouragement, all the positive praise, all the support in the world for these guys because I can go out and get more of both of these. I'm not dependent on anyone to do it. I want you, but I don't need you. I want you, but I don't need you. So you can't judge these people too early. So why is 30 a magic number? 30 is a magic number because at 20%.
Excuse me. Somebody will get it.
Yeah. At 20%, you're going to have 6 studs and 24 duds. When I say duds, I don't mean duds as people. I just mean duds from a business perspective. Some of the people that I respect and admire and care about the most genuinely have been duds in WFG business. But they're studs in the real world, in character, integrity, morality, who they are, their wisdom, and all the things that matter in a human being to me. They're unbelievable studs. They're just duds in business. So when I say duds, I'm not like putting people down or shaming them. I'm just saying, like from a business perspective, a profitability, a productivity, they're duds. So when you get to 30, you've got 6 studs. Here's what you really have: is 1 to maybe 2 legit leaders. And now not all the work, not all the heavy lifting is falling on your shoulders. You've got 1 to 2 people that you can consistently count in, month out. Always there, always doing more than expected, always always looking out for the greater good of the team, where we're going, what we're doing. You've got 3 to maybe 5, 6 dependable people. They're not top performers, they're not duds, they're inconsistent, but they're dependable. Every month they're giving a good, solid effort. Some months are better than other months, but they're productive. They're productive, right? And then you've got, 18 to 20 that are just sort of 80%ers. They show up to meetings and they're excited and they want to work. They're not really executing or performing. The next magic number is 50 in a team or a base shop. And that's where things really start to get magical. The challenge is, and I talked about this before, when you're a brand new person, when it's just you, and you're trying to get to 30, when it's you, and then you've got 3 people, and then you've got 5 people, and then you've got 10 people, and then you've got 12 people, and then you've got 15 people, then you got 20 people. With each of these people that you add, I just want to forewarn you on this. As your team grows bigger and bigger and bigger in these early stages, it can be really frustrating. Because there's oftentimes not a direct correlation between all of this added responsibility of teaching, training, developing, and leading these people, and answering their questions, and dealing with their heartaches, and their rejections, and their disappointments, and your income. There's not a direct correlation. You go from just me to me plus 5 people, it's not like your income's 5 times greater. It might be like 10% more, or 20% more, but I've taken on so much more responsibility and oftentimes headaches. It's like, at a certain point, is it worth dealing with all these people? Because at this point, they pretty much all look and feel like 80%ers. Because they're babies, they're infants, they're new, they just don't know any better. Even the ones that are trying really hard are still a lot of work. They're high maintenance. And so, you're doing a ton of extra work here without reaping a ton more rewards. It's important that you know that going in. It's like the Lake Michigan. It's like, here's the goal, and you're swimming, and you get halfway across, and you're freaking tired, and the other side is still so far away, and it's like, I've been doing this forever, swimming across this damn thing, and I feel like it's still so far away, like I'll never get there. So you like, it'll just be easier just to go back. It happens all the time as people are building a team, because leadership, you're carrying the emotional weight, and you gotta have a big emotional gas tank to constantly be feeding into people, and believing into people, and pouring belief into, encouraging. Even when things like, in your own head, you've got doubts, and you've got fears, and you've got anxieties, and you're worried about stuff, and everything's not perfect in your game, and you're not so sure about this, you can't ever let your people see that. You've got to keep pouring into them, and always be there for them, and encouraging them, and your emotional gas tank grows a ton as a result of that. So, as you're going from here to here, I just want you to know what it's going to look like and feel like somewhere in the middle. But when you get to here, relief is in sight. You've got a guy or two that, no matter how crazy things get, you can depend on. They're like, you can depend on that. They're thinking a couple of steps ahead just like you are. And it's, all of a sudden you're like, oh crap. And don't worry, I already got it taken care of. You're like, huh. Finally, somebody's thinking of this stuff, like it's not all on me. And they're not just carrying the load from a productivity standpoint, where you can count on them to do so many one-on-ones and recruiting interviews and fast starting people and field training and writing apps, but they're carrying some of that leadership load, where they're going out and providing overlapping leadership, or checking a teammate when a teammate needs checked, or encouraging somebody that's not even on their team but is inside the greater team, right? They're providing accountability, and they're taking time out to, hey, you know what, let's go out in the field this week and do some prospecting. They're doing those things independently, whether those people are on their team or not, because they're leading, right? Hubert Humphrey, the founder of our company, used to say, I was talking about this with the trainers this morning, used to say that go out and borrow a team until you have a big team, right? So like, I got a team of 5, but if I can sort of borrow these other 10 guys and work with them and lead them, it's going to develop my capacity, it's going to develop my attractiveness, I'm going to get better at this. So rather than go, well, no, I don't override them, so I don't want to waste any of my time on them. It's not a waste of time, because you're growing in your skills and your development. So 30 is a big magic number, because you move from this stage to going, okay, I got some help. This is not all 100%. It's still mainly on me, but it's not 100% on me. When you get it from 30 guys to 50 guys, it starts getting crazy fun. Now you've got leverage. Now you've got more guys you can count on. Now you've got more dependable guys, like a good front line of dependable guys. And now it starts getting fun. You can leverage, there's so many more things that you can do. So I want you to get here and here as quickly as possible. Like I was meeting with Dylan this week. We had a business planning meeting, then we went and grabbed a quick lunch together. By the way, I never finished the other half of that. Can you believe that? Like, I just eat like a bird. That's why I'm petite. What's anything funny? What are you guys laughing at? I clearly have a different vision of myself than you do. You guys are doing a little bit of body shaming, which is not okay in 2019. I'm perfectly fine in my body.
That's right. Woo!
We're making a lot of progress.
Yes. Yes, the world needs plus models too. As Gracie and Michelle and I learned about in Vegas, right?
Dad bodies. That's what it's
Dad
called.
bodies, that's right. I sidetracked myself, that's why.
The 50.
It's almost about, so Dylan and I were meeting, I said, hey, here's the deal. I said, I would like for you to go out and get 3, 4, 5 hungry, young, 18, 20, 22, 23-year-old kids as quickly as possible. And immediately he's thinking, well, like, young people aren't really in our market, they're not the best people, they're flaky, they start, then they quit, they don't know anybody in a good market, they can't, all those, I agree with all those things. But what do I want for him? I want him to begin to build his own team and his own business, and here's what I know. He gets 5 or 10 young guys on his team that have almost no bills, still live with their parents, have almost no responsibility, haven't been beaten up by life yet, so they actually believe they can be somebody and do something special with their life still, right? Not like most of you old people that are in your 30s and 40s, right? They still believe, right? And so they're young, they're hungry, they got a lot of free time on their hands, right? They got plenty of time to learn. They don't got a mortgage payment. They're not even paying rent in front of them, right? If he gets 5 or 10 of those guys showing up to meetings, getting suited and booted, ready to go, here's what happens. It's way easier for him to attract a 30 or 40-year-old dude. Because now he's coming from a different place. His energy about recruiting people is different. His energy is about talking to this 30 to 40-year-old is different. His leadership skills, like, I want you still on my team, but I don't need you. I got 7 guys here today. Is his approach. And so he comes from a different space and a different energy. I had a similar conversation with Adam about him building his squad, right? It's a matter of getting this started. Dean and I have gone around and around about the office, because like I'm not wearing a tie today, and for the first 18 years of my career, like ties and suit and boot and everything was super buttoned up, and I prefer it that way, quite frankly. But I also know this, when you're trying to build momentum, when you set the standards super high, what you're really doing is setting them so high that you're creating reasons for people not to be a part of it. What I'm a big believer in is getting things going, making it messy, dirty, lower standards, but let's create the momentum, and then as we get momentum, and we get enough momentum moving forward, then you can start raising things up. In other words, I want you to go out and hit 5 recruits a month in your base, 10 recruits in your base. I don't care who the hell they are. I don't care if it's your grandma who speaks Portuguese only and she lives in North Carolina. I don't care if it's 3 of them are 19-year-old kids and we see them for 3 weeks. Like, I don't care, because here's what happens. You begin to look back and go, yep, August I had 4 recruits. September I had 9 recruits. September I had 12 recruits. October I had 14 recruits. You begin to look back at August and September. You forget that, well, one of them was my 93-year-old Portuguese-speaking grandma. The other with these 3, like, what you see is like, I'm building momentum. I'm building confidence. I'm building and as you begin to do that, then you start going, wait a minute, I'm not going to waste my time anymore with these Portuguese-speaking people, or whatever it is, right? Or these young people. Like, you just start naturally raising your standards, but now you've got the momentum and the activity and the confidence and the skills where you can start raising standards, and you can start to sort of narrow it down, and if that costs you a few, it's okay because you got enough going on.
Christopher,
Yeah.
So you're saying that it doesn't really matter who it is because you're growing.
To me, it doesn't.
So you're growing individually because you're doing the numbers.
Yeah. To me, when I look back at my numbers, what I see is, okay, here's the progress, here's the growth, here's what's going on. Here's the repetitions I got in, here's the wins. Celebrate all wins. To me, my 93-year-old Portuguese-speaking grandma in North Carolina is a win. I'm going to celebrate that win. But if I've got like, well, she's not in the market, and she's not local, and she's not this, and she's not that, and she doesn't even speak English, then I don't get the AMA, I don't get the recruit, I don't get the W, I don't celebrate anything, and it's like, I'm trying to, well, they have to be this to this, and this, and this, and this, and this, otherwise they don't fit in. Then when it begins to start happening, I start filtering all these people out of my mind because they're not good enough, and guys like Rob Day, who don't have a job, who live with their in-laws, who have no money, who have no credibility, not even with their in-laws, guys like that don't even show up on my list. I don't even try to recruit. I need to begin to open up my mind to all the possibilities, and then as I start creating more, then I can raise my standards. Then I can raise my standards. Okay? This is just my opinion.
Okay.
Haven't done it a couple times. So, we're gonna grow this. We're gonna grow this to 50 in the base shop. I wanna get this to 100 plus people showing up to meetings consistently. I wanna break it off into 2 nights. Or once we got like 75, 80, 90 people going, we should have 2 nights going and Saturday mornings going where this place is packed. And when I say it's packed, I mean this is like way too much room. The first row should be starting right here. It should be going all the way back to where Kute is, where Fitzroy is. We got guys hanging out of there. We got guys hanging out of the coffee room. These doors are open, and we got 3, 4, 5 people sitting in chairs, sort of hanging, trying to lean in, trying to listen and take notes. Sort of like when a area wide is packed in Corona, you got people hanging out of the offices.
Yeah.
That's the kind of hot environment and culture that we're in the process of building, and we're going to get to by the end of this year. I want you guys to see it. I want you to feel it. I want you to understand what it looks like, what it feels like. We're halfway there based on where we started in January. We've made a ton of progress, and sometimes it's like you're raising kids, and like over 6 months, whatever, and then all of a sudden you see a relative you haven't seen in 6 months and go, man, I can't believe how much Mickey's grown. You're like, I didn't even really notice. You just saw Mickey at Christmas, like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. You're like, well, I guess so. But you're around it so much, sometimes you don't see it. We've grown a ton since January, and sometimes just because it happens sort of organically, you don't see it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, this is where we're going to. I want to tell you someplace else that we're going to, and I want, some of you are going to think I'm not speaking to you, I'm speaking to you. So if you think I'm not speaking to you, it's probable that I'm speaking exactly to you. Right now we've got all of the offices filled, and we got a couple of those hotel spaces filled back there. Those of you that were in my office downstairs on the first floor, we have these hutches above the workstations, and we have these bulletin boards. It was really tricked out. I want to finish tricking out those hotel spaces, but we need to fill them up first. Here's what I can tell you. I want you to listen to me on this, especially those of you that think I'm not talking to you. Well, I'm only part-time. Well, I'm not making that much money. Well, right? My first working space, I shared with Dan Charlier. We split $250. And we shared a little working space like Kute's sitting back in there right now. And there was a guy that was Indian who was an insurance agent for years and years and years who sat next to us, who ate vegetarian food and had horrible gas. Gas can. And he would just let them rip.
Yeah.
And I'm not making any money yet, and this is what I'm spending money on, is to be sitting next to this guy. I want you to listen to me on this, and some of you are going to buck me, and that's okay. You just try and do it your way. All I'm trying to do is, every time I train you guys, all I'm trying to do is give you information that's going to increase the odds, the probability of you succeeding and winning. Because if you don't make money, I don't make money. So I have no reason to tell you anything other than that. It's already freaking hard enough to win at anything in life.
Yeah.
So I want to increase the odds, make it easier. It's still going to be hard. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. You need to get a workspace in here. Whether you're sharing one of those hotel spaces with somebody else, whether you're getting one on your own, nobody, let me repeat that, nobody. I'm not talking about one single person named nobody. I'm talking about nobody like there hasn't been a person that's built a big base shop from their home. Hasn't happened. The guys that make all the money aren't the big producers. They're the guys that build big base shops, and the gals that build big base shops. And the people that build big base shops are working in an office environment, even on a part-time basis. They're coming in, they've got a place to work, and they're making things happen. We've trained a lot in the past, and today we're not going to train on. We've talked a lot about identity. There's a different identity that you have when I've got a place in the office that I come to work. There's a different sense of ownership. I want you to think about, I'm driving my car to Vegas, I'm renting a car and driving a rental to Vegas. Do you treat a rental car the same way you treat your own car?
No.
Do you treat a hotel room the same way you treat your own
No.
house? No. Yeah, I just throw towels everywhere, I don't get right. Oh, I missed the trash can, who gives her, in your home that don't work. In a hotel room you're like, oh, okay, no big deal. When there's a big difference in responsibility when there's a sense of ownership. When you don't feel like you own it, it's sort of like this temporary affiliation type thing. When you're just sort of popping in and out during meetings. So I'd encourage you, well, we got a couple of spaces left, you should rent a hotel space. And if all the hotel spaces are rented, we've got these club chairs and we've got these things set up, you should be in here because that's part of a big part of learning. We're gonna get into training the trainers in a minute. A big part of learning is not sitting here for 45 minutes and getting instruction. It's you doing the work when you're a novice and not an expert and other people who are better than you giving you feedback. That's how you grow and develop. And when you're at home, or you're in your car, or you're at Starbucks, you're not getting any feedback. You're just doing it on your own when you feel like it. When you don't feel like it, there's no pressure or accountability because there's nobody around you watching you. If you're sitting here, you're like, that call didn't go so well, I really want to take a break, and there's other people in here making calls, you're going to power through it. Or you're going to say something, and they're going to say something back, then you're going to get back on the phones. That doesn't happen by yourself. You're dramatically lowering your chances of building a big base shop and winning by trying to do this from home. You want to plug into an office environment. Even if it's like Dan and I, at the time, I'm embarrassed, we were sharing a little workspace. But I had quit a good job, my income was way down, maybe I could have afforded it, maybe I should have invested in my own workspace, but I had something, which was better than nothing, and Dan and I made it work. By the way, the conference room is not your personal office or workspace. If people are paying for the hotel space and paying for the office, you don't plug into the conference room for free and go, this is my office, just set up all your crap, okay? That's for meeting with clients and prospects and stuff, okay? So, it's important that you create that. Labor Day is we're going to kick off a Train the Trainer program. And here's what I believe. Steve Couttet sort of shared this idea, and it's sort of blossoming into something special. The SMDs have all talked about it. Here's what the Train the Trainer is really about, starting on Labor Day. In raising children, I always think parenting is the best metaphor for leadership because it's very, 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 very similar process. In parenting and raising children, here's what I've learned to know to be true. Children thrive and prefer a structured environment. Here's what else I know. Children will never ask for a structured environment. Right? It's like, what was that movie with the little squirrels? Yeah, the chipmunks. Yeah. Alvin and the Chipmunks. And then what was the uncle's name? Remember the uncle with the huge mansion? Was it Dave that they went to with the huge mansion with all the money?
Dave was the dad.
He was the agent / uncle, whatever. What? No. So the chipmunks go there and he's like, all right, here's the rules, guys. Rule number 1, there are no rules. Rule number 2, don't forget rule number 1, right? And so the chipmunks just went crazy, right? Absolutely bonkers. That's what kids think. They want kids to thrive in a structured environment where they know, I can push it this far, if I go that far, I'm in trouble. There's consequences. When the lines move, when they're uncertain, when it's changing, when it's based on someone's mood or temperament, when there's no structure, they don't thrive because there's no certainty. Here's what I know. Y'all are just a bunch of big kids. Adults are the exact same way. Adults never say, hey, I want a structured, disciplined environment. Yet the fact of the matter is, adults perform at a higher level in a structured, disciplined environment. Do you think athletes work in a structured, disciplined environment? Yeah. And those guys excel at the highest levels of execution and make a ton of money doing it, right? So, what we want to do is we want to create a more structured training environment for you guys. But not for everybody, only for those of you that want to develop your skills. And so we're calling it Train the Trainer. Okay? Here's what Train the Trainer looks like. We're going to kick it off Labor Day. And I'm going to contradict myself here. Okay? Second time I've done it today, or at least I'm honest when I'm doing it. We want to create a highly structured training environment that's fun and competitive. That's fun and competitive. Can something be fun and competitive?
Yes.
Of course it can, right? If it's just fun, that's great. If it's only competitive, you're going to push some people away who haven't learned to be competitive yet. We want it to be fun and competitive. We want it to be structured. We want it to be skills-based. And we want it to be skills-based because why? Here's what we're hoping to do. We're hoping to build your competence. What's competence? Your know-how.
You're knowing.
Your know-how. I know how to do something at a high level. I'm competent, right? And we want to raise your confidence. Like when Warner first showed up, Warner was one of these guys that had a extremely low level of competence and an extremely high level of confidence. He was super confident, but he didn't know what the hell he was doing, but he was so confident he didn't know what he was doing, right? There's other guys that come in and they develop a tremendous amount of competence. They still don't have the self-confidence. It's like your skills are way better than you think they are, right? You need both. You need both. To be effective, to be successful, you need competence and confidence. So how do we do that? We do that through repetition, and we do it through more feedback than we do instruction. So I said I was going to contradict myself. Let me contradict myself. I want it to be very structured for your benefit. At the same time, we're rolling it out brand new. There's got to be some fluidity for us to receive feedback and make adjustments. Because what's more important than being rigid, I'd rather be firm. What's the difference between being rigid and being firm?
Rigid is not flexible, and firm gives you a tiny little bit of wiggle room with high expectations.
Yes. Firm is flexible, right? A strong wind comes in, a tree can go like this. If it's rigid, the tree's just going to get knocked over, right? Under too much. So we want to be firm and flexible. In other words, I want to get feedback, and we may make some adjustments in curriculum and the way we're doing things, whatever the case might be. I'm open to that. Here's what the structure is going to look like. We're going to kick it off Labor Day, and then the goal is on Wednesdays to do it from 5:45 to 6:30 before pregame, and on Saturdays to do it from 7:45 to 8:30 a.m. before pregame. Some of you are like, well, I don't think I can be there Wednesdays because of work. Okay, I got you.
Okay.
But we don't want to interfere with pregame. This is not required, it's not mandatory, it's only for those of you that want to get better and want to grow. What is it going to be based on? Here's what we're looking at. I want to, actually, I think. Here's something that I started putting together sort of months ago that I wanted to roll out with my hierarchy, but I think it gives a sort of a good model for what we're talking about here. So, we need to get licensed, right? Life license 663, 65, 26, all that sort of stuff. Don't get a 26. Sorry, Steve. I should have told you that earlier. Don't get a 26. So, you've got client-based skills and you've got builder-based skills. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Some of you, if we look at the client-based skills, your skills are really, really high, but you're a little bit atrophied on these skills. Some of you are really naturally good at these, but you're not really good at these. What I wanted to do was I wanted to sort of break down and create a model by which you know where you're at in each skill set and what's sort of the next step for you, the next level of progression. So, for example, certified builder, what is that? Well, I can make reference calls or top 25 calls. I can make those kinds of calls. What are those? So, there's really two types of initial calls. One is a help me script. How many of you know what the help me script is? How many of you were asked to do the help me script or given a script to do that? Anybody? When you got started? Okay. Can I give you some feedback? Excuse me. So BFS. I want you guys to listen to me on this because I know what the hell I'm talking about. A lot of areas I don't, this one I do. Step 2, right in the back of the BFS.
Right.
Even our newest branded version, right?
Mhm.
The approach contact. It says leader controls the point of contact. If I recruit Warner, he's a brand new associate. He's week 1, week 2, week 3 in. And I give him the help me script, and I say, here, I want you to call the people you know, here's the help me script. Am I as the leader controlling the point of contact, or is Warner?
Warner.
Warner is. I'm not controlling the point of contact, he is. He's the one doing all the contacting. He goes home, and he calls his Uncle Joe. His Uncle Joe goes, hey, number one, Warner, I already have an advisor, have for years. Number 2, you don't know anything about this. You've worked in restaurants your whole life. Why would I want to sit down with you anyway? Number 3, like, I really don't appreciate you using our family relationship to try and sell me stuff. And he's in his home and he makes that call. How does he feel about making call number 2?
Not good.
Man, I'm fired up. It's part of the process. It's part of the grind, man. Part of the hustle. I'm going to make it big. To heck with him. That's just a number. It's just a, right? Every adversity contains a seed of a greater opportunity. Let's go get him. He ain't thinking none of that BS. He's thinking, I've talked to my Uncle Joe my whole life. I've always admired and respected him. I know he loves me and cares about me. That was horrible. That felt wrong. And there's only one new ingredient I've added to the mix in our relationship, and that new ingredient is WFG. It must be WFG. And by the way, if the way I feel right now is the way I'm going to feel every day, all day when I'm doing this, I don't think this is the right career for me. Matter of fact, I think this is God's way of telling me I shouldn't do this. None of which is true. But he doesn't know any different. Why? Because I didn't control the point of contact. I gave him a help me script and told him to go call people. By contrast, I give him the help me script and we sit down and we role play it, and then he starts making those calls, and I'm able to give him feedback after each call. And he calls 5 of his buddies. He calls his Uncle Joe and 3 of his buddies and whoever, his girlfriend. And afterwards I go, dude, can I be honest with you? The first time I did that, like 20 years ago, I was so freaking scared, like my heart was pounding so fast, I literally thought it was going to explode out of my chest and I was going to die. I was like, it was so weird because I had talked to these people my whole life, and all of a sudden now I'm calling them, and it was like the weirdest experience ever, and I was scared to death and nervous. He's like, oh my God, no way. He's hyperventilating, that's the way I feel right now. If I'm not there with him, coaching him, giving him feedback, he thinks he's the only person that's ever felt that way, and it's unique to him, and there's something wrong with him, and this business won't work for him. If I'm here and I'm going through it with him together, he's like, this is a guy that understands the business, he understands me, he can relate to me, I can be real and transparent with him. He just said everything that I'm feeling, there's a sense of connection and trust that's immediately made. If I pretend like that didn't happen to him, well, that was awesome, champion, go get him, you're going to be awesome. And inside you feel like, oh, I'm going to lose him. So leader controls the point of contact, we do that together. And we begin to transition into making top 25 or ASAP calls, whatever you want to call it, where I'm beginning to make those calls and he's listening to make those calls into his market. Okay, so leader controls the point of contact. Super important. So, what do we want to do with these? We want, and help me should be on here. We want to get people really good at making the help me calls, because not enough leaders are helping the people getting good at it. We want to get you really good at making top 25 or reference calls so that you're really good at doing it. We want to get you really good at doing the first half of the interview, beginning to interview people so that you begin to get a feel of what are the kind of questions that I ask? How do I overcome objections? How do I get started on this recruiting process without having all of the pressure on you of like, is it going to work or not, right? From a client perspective, some of you are on Dean and Steve's team, you do a little bit differently. The ASAP appointment, the data appointment, if you add these two together, you have what you guys normally think of as a KTP1. we just split the KTP 1 into 2 separate appointments. By the way, for the purposes of role play, if we're doing it in 45-minute increments beforehand, you're pretty much gonna have to break it down anyway. Otherwise, if you're role playing a KTP 1, how many of them are you gonna get through in 45 minutes? One. One, right? So breaking it down into smaller sub-chunks where, like, okay, the first 3 pages, let's role play that 8 or 10 times during this period of time, and then the next class will get through the next 3 pages, or 4 pages, because I think it's a 7-page presentation. And so over the course of 2 classes, I can role play each half 8 or 10 times, then maybe we can come back on the 3rd class and take the whole thing, cradle to grave, 3 or 4 times in its entirety. And now all of a sudden I'm starting to get somewhere. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, there's basic level, what I call recruiting or building skills, and there's basic level field training skills. Now what we call certified, here's what I call certified, it's just a term. What I call certified is Tom can do a KTP 1 and a closing appointment here in the office. He can role play it top to bottom, he's got it knocked out. To me, he's certified. Like, he does it as good as you can do it in the classroom, but how many of you know it's different in front of real people?
Yeah.
Right? Classroom isn't, right? Real play is different than role play. So, what does validated or elite trainer mean? Elite trainer means I go out in the field with Tom, and as an SMD, I watch him and I listen to him. I watch him with my own eyes, hear him with my own ears, do it with real clients. And then the ultimate level is I watch Tom take a new associate in Kim and train her in the field with a real client. Because at the end of the day, our business doesn't stop at you being independent, knowing how to do it on your own. Our business goes one step further, which is you become the teacher. And just because you know how to do it, doesn't mean you know how to teach it. It's a different skill set. Would you agree or not?
Yes.
Right? Pete Rose was a great baseball player. I don't know, was he as good of a manager? I don't know. Tommy Lasorda was a bad player, good manager.
So you would go out with Tom and Kim on an appointment for 3?
Oh, yeah. I've been out with more people than that before. Wow, what?
No, how do you do that? I want to know how you do it. I want to do that.
What do you mean, how I do it?
I mean, I know you do it.
Right.
But, well, I have old habits of working.
Oh. So, okay,
So I have to learn from this.
It's only weird if you think it's weird.
yeah,
It's not weird.
yeah.
So I gotta change it.
It's different.
So, these are basic client skills that we can role play and learn in the office. These are basic building skills. The next level building skills are, can you do a business card script, right? Your objection handling. Are you good on all the objections? Can you do the second half of an interview? In other words, can you close a recruiting interview, do an AMA, set up the fast start appointment, set up the F&A? Nothing drives me crazier than somebody going, oh, I got an AMK, we recruited, blah, blah. I go, okay, when's the F&A, when's the fast start appointment? Oh, we didn't set it yet, but they're coming back to the meeting next Saturday. I go, oh! You didn't, that's not a hiring. Like, you've got to set up those next 2 appointments, 24 to 48 hours as part of the system, right? You gotta be able to do a clean one-on-one, you gotta be able to do a fast start. That's the next set of building skills, really, right? Next set of client skills are these same skills, but we're doing it in front of clients. Okay? You put this plus this together, and then you've got the complete package. So, part of what we wanna do, I'm gonna run out of time here if I'm not careful, so let me drop that from your screen. Actually, I got something else on the screen in a minute. I'd say it's priorities. Okay. I want to use what little time we have left, and I want to get you thinking about your vision and where you're going and what else we're doing as an office, and I want to give you some tips and tools to help you. Some of you I've met with one-on-one, some of you I'm going to meet with one-on-one, like you, David, and some of you I won't get a chance to meet with one-on-one because I can't meet with everybody. We just went through that example of as things get bigger, you need to have more people that you can delegate to. So my expectation is like, I meet with Steve and Carol and I go through things that they meet with their people and go through things, right? I meet with Jeanette and go through things, she meets with her people and goes through that. That's sort of to me, that's always the trade-off in leadership. If I'm gonna spend time mentoring you and coaching you and giving you accountability, take that same process that I'm working with on you and take it to your people. Rather than just going, your people aren't good enough and when they are, they'll get to do it with me. That's not the way it works. We're trying to build generationally a system that duplicates leadership as well as anything else, okay? So, Here's, you guys have probably heard me talk about this. My vision, my goal is I wanna earn $1 million in income. Right now, I'm at about 480 a year. I wanna go to $1 million a year. Here's what happens, when I go to $1 million a year, Robin's making more money, Tim's making more money, Steve's making more money, Errol's making more money, Dean's making more money, Bill's making more money, Dylan's making more money, James is making, a rising tide lifts all boats. I can't go from 480 to $1 million a year. Well, I can, but I have zero intentions of doing that. I have zero intentions of writing so much more business, I just increase my income. The only way I've ever done it, and the only way I've ever known that to do it is through other people. And through other people's success. But my 4th year here, less than 5% of my income came from me writing apps. 4th year, 5%, I can show it to you in the numbers. It's obvious as day. So I've always learned from the beginning how to build income through other people, through creating value, training, developing, and leading other people. So for me to make $1 million extra bucks, like I'll give you an example. You know how Steve got up here, he's like, yeah, I made 14,000 bucks on this sale and 3,000 bucks on this sale. I just wanted to publicly say thank you, Steve, because I didn't meet either one of those clients. I didn't know he made those sales, but I just did the math and made over $2,000 when he made those sales. So thank you, Steve, for the $2,000. I appreciate that. My wife appreciates that. It's a good thing, right? All of my income, or 95% of it, I could live without the 5, has come through me helping other people. I have to create, think about that, if he gets 17 and I get 2, how much more income do I have to create through all of you to take mine from 480 to $1 million? I gotta create a ton more. It's not like I have to create $500,000 more income through you guys for me to get a half. I get a small percentage of what you're getting. So I have to significantly increase your income for my little percent to get me from 480 to $1 million. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Is this the English speaking group?
Yes.
Okay, good. So here's what, I'm not turning it.
Yeah, well,
Here's what I want you guys to get focused on for those of you who haven't met with me yet or will not be meeting with me. December 2020. I want you to get a clear vision for what does your life look December 2020. What does it look like? How much money are you making per month? Here's why December 2020. Because it's far enough away to where with compounding efforts you could get a lot done by then. But it's close enough that there's a sense of urgency and a pressure. Like if I'm going to do something big in December 2020, there's a lot of work to do. I can't waste any days. There's a sense of urgency. It's close enough that I can see it and taste it and get excited about how. In other words, you go, man, I'm going to be worth $10 million in 10 years. 10 years is so far away. A lot of days it's just hard to be excited about it. A lot of days, today really, in the scope of 10 years, is one day really going to matter. But you've got less than a year and a half. It's close enough. I can see it. I can feel it. You can dramatically, and I'm going to show you through my own personal numbers, you can dramatically change your life through this business platform in that short of a period of time. Dramatically, and a few of you will. But if you're not going to, if you're not clear on what this looks like. So here's what I want you to put in your notes. How much are you earning per month in December of 2020? How much per month, December 2020? What does your debt look like? Your student loans, your credit cards, your car notes. What does your debt look like? Do you have any debt left over? Have you paid half of it off? Have you paid all of it off? What does that look like? What does your personal savings look like? Did you increase your personal savings to $5,000 in a savings account, 10 grand, 25, 50, 100? What does your personal savings account looks like? What does like your retirement funding look like? How much are you, how much are you putting away per month in your retirement fund? How much per month are you putting away in your retirement fund? Are you staying in the same place? Or you got a new house? Or you close an escrow on a new place? If so, how big is it? What style? Is it ranch, Tuscan, Mediterranean, modern? What's the style of the home? You got to get clear. If you're not clear, none of these things are going to happen for you. Trust me. Every business book, personal growth, self-development you've ever read talks about you've got to get clear on your dreams and your vision. And the overwhelming majority of people that I meet aren't clear. They're not. If you ask them, what do you really want? Oh, I want more money. Okay. Right, here you go. You reached your goal. Well, that's not what I meant. Well, that's what you asked for. But like, you've got to be super specific and clear. If I stood you up right now and say, tell me exactly what you want in front of the group. If you're stuttering and stammering, if you're not sure, if you're winging it, thinking off the top, if I'm picking you right now, or you right now, or you right now, or you right now, you're not thinking about your vision off there. You're not clear enough. You're not specific enough. It's just some sort of vague, general thing in the future. It's got to be. Here's the challenge. If I say, "Hey, why is your health where it is? What if you're carrying a few pounds, and not all of you are, but some of you are? If you got more weight on you, why is that? If you got some debt that's been lingering for a while, why is that? If your savings isn't where it's supposed to be, why is that? If your income isn't where you want it to be, why is that? If your relationship isn't where it's supposed to be, why is that?" And in your head, as soon as I say, why is that? You know what came to each and every one of you as soon as I hit on like a soft spot for you? As soon as I hit on an area that you didn't feel good about, and I said, why is that for you? You know what happened? You immediately knew the reason why. You know why you immediately knew the reason why? Because you've been telling yourself a story for a long time about why that is. Well, the reason I'm overweight is because I had babies, and once I had the babies, this happened. Or the reason I'm overweight is because I got this long commute, and I just don't get a chance to eat healthy anymore. There's no time to prep meals, so I started driving through, or it's stressing. Or the reason that financially we're here is, well, there was 2008, and the market crashed, and we went bankrupt, and we lost our house, and, or my husband got laid off, or there's this health thing. Like, there's a story that you're telling yourself, and you've been telling yourself for a long time, that's causing you to stay stuck right there. And that story's probably not going away. What I'm trying to encourage you to do is to get clear, crystal clear on this, and to talk about this so many times to yourself over and over and over, and to talk about it to your significant other, your spouse, so many times over and over, talk about it to your teammates so many times over and over. Then when I go, hey, you, stand up. Hey, you, stand up. Hey, you, stand up. Tell me what your vision is. Like, you stand up and say, blah, 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 like, you said it so many times, it's just rote, it's just like, it just spills out of you. It's like somebody pricks you and it just comes flowing out of you. Because you've said it so many times to yourself that it's hard to hear the old story. The old story is what got you here. The old story is not going to get you where you want to go. The old story is just going to keep you stuck where you're at, in this rut, in this routine, in whatever area of your life it is. You've got to drown out the old story with a new story that's more compelling, that's more exciting, that's more energetic, but you've got to repeat it. So the old story that you've told yourself that's caused you to be where you are relationally in your marriage, or where you are financially, or whatever the case might be, wherever your health, I want you, you've told yourself that story thousands of times, at least a subconscious level. And it's perfectly rehearsed. Matter of fact, you ever hear somebody else tell you an excuse for why something's going on in their life, and you're like, that's totally an excuse. But it sounds so polished and so rehearsed. Why is it so polished and so rehearsed? Because they've said it so many times themselves. They're ready to be asked. Because it takes the hurt and the pain and the pressure away and the responsibility away from where they're at. Take responsibility for this. Tell me things you want to get excited about, that you can see, that are close enough, and talk about them over and over out loud. The more times you repeat it out loud, the more it's going to work its way in, where it's going to be part of your little voice, part of that voice that runs 24/7 nonstop. Part of those 65,000 thoughts a day that you have, and 93% of them are repetitive day after day, week after week. We want to begin to inject a couple of new thoughts in there that eventually run on autopilot. The way we do it is by repeating them out loud over and over and over. So here's mine. And if you're already tired of hearing me speak about what Schloeman's already talked about earning $1 million a year, you're in for something else. I'm going to wear your asses out. I'm going to be talking about it so much. I'm going to talk about it incessantly and obsessively, where some of you are going to be offended. Some people are going to quit. He's just greedy. All he thinks about is money. No, all I'm thinking about is creating a vision that energizes and excites me, that I know will lift a lot of people around me. So if that's offensive to you, you're gonna get tired of hearing me talk about it real soon. Because I've just begun. But what I want you to do is to wear me out with your vision and where you're going and what it's gonna look like and why you're excited about it, why it's important to you. Because I'm sick and tired of hearing your old story about why you're at where you're at. So you've got to get crystal clear on this. By the way, I love this from Eric Olson. 2020, perfect vision. 2020 is when we have perfect vision. I want you to have a perfect vision for what you want your life to look like December of 2020. Perfect vision. That's step one, is you've got to get clear on it. If you don't, here's the difference. Can I tell you what you need to do?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Here's what you probably need to do. You probably need to go out and get 3 to 4 directs a month. You probably need to do 10 base recruits plus a month. And you probably need to put your name on 6 to 12 apps a month. If you keep telling yourself your old story and you're not clear on this, not like foggy, like crystal clear, I see it as clear as I can see Steve Adams right now. This is just more work and you already feel like you got too much work in your life. This is just a grind. This is just going to take a lot of time and I don't have enough time as it is. The last thing I have is time to cram more of this stuff in. And where's it really going to get me? When you're clear on this and what it's going to be like and why you're so excited about that, you know what's going to happen? You're going to wind up picking up 3 to 4 directs a month. You're going to wind up putting your name on 6 to 12 apps a month, and you're going to wind up doing double-digit recruiting over and over and over because you're so consumed with where you're going that your behavior becomes congruent with the direction that you're heading. Right now, it's like you're telling yourself this story as to why I'm stuck here, but you're trying to convince yourself to do this work to get these things, and you're not even sure what these things will really do for you. When you're consumed with this, your behavior naturally, and here's what else happens. There's people and places and opportunities, experiences all around you that you can't even see. I'll give you a quick example. Some dear friends of mine a few weeks ago, I referred to a Christian marriage counselor who's a good friend of mine. She's unbelievable at what she does. And they went once or twice, and I was talking to the wife afterwards. I was sort of encouraging her because that's what I do. And the wife said this to me. She said, well, she's not a miracle worker. And I said, really? I said, can I give you some feedback? She's like, what's that? I go, I said, if you're looking for a miracle in your marriage, right? If you're looking to fall back in love with your husband, if you're looking for the fights to dissipate, for you guys to be able to disagree agreeably, to fall back in love with each other, to enjoy each other's company, to create a marriage that honors God, I said, she's a miracle worker. But if you're not looking for a miracle, yeah, you won't find one. If you're like, hey, I'm done with him, I'm tired of this crap, enough of it already, blah, 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 she won't be a miracle worker. Because you're going to get whatever you're looking for. You're going to get what you expect. You have people and opportunities right now all around you that you can't see because you're not looking for them. You're not looking for a miracle in your business. You're not looking for a miracle in your life. You're just like grinding it out and coming to meetings and dealing with your debt or with your weight or with your bills or with your spouse or whatever. You've got to have a clear vision where you're looking for miracles to happen. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so you need to get clear on that because it changes your behavior, makes it easier and funner. You need to change your associations. You need to change your associations. If you put together a list of the 5 people that you spend the most amount of time with, or the 5 couples, what are they out earning you by? Or do they make about what you make, roughly, give or take a few bucks? Here's what I already know in advance. You're spending way too much time with a certain social network group of people that are good people, good friends, they're nice and all that. But if you're going to go do something big you've never done before, you need to create a list here of people that are gonna elevate you. And you need to seek them out. I was sitting down with, I was talking to Tim and Evelyn. And they were talking about prior to the convention, we had Sergio and Mary Beth come in and speak. They created a relationship with them, they've been staying in touch with them, they enhanced that at the convention, and now they've been like texting them 2 or 3 times a week. Sergio and Mary Beth are a great association for Tim and Evelyn. Great association, because you look at Sergio and Mary Beth's income, and you look at Tim and Evelyn's income, you look at the size of their teams, they're a great association. You don't need an association with Ed to be of little value to you. You need an association with somebody who's like 5 to 10 times ahead of you. You're making 20 grand in the business, somebody making 100 grand can probably teach you a lot. If you're making 30 or 40 grand, somebody who's making $500,000 can probably teach you a lot. Right? So you need to find those relationships and stretch it. Tuesday, I'll give you an example, like Tuesday, I'm going down to Cash Raston's office. Cash had the #1 SMD base shop recruiting team in the entire company again. So Cash and I are buddies. I said, hey, I'm going to go down there. He's like, oh, we'd love to have you speak in Vietnam. I go, no, bro. I go, English is your second language, isn't it? He goes, yeah. I go, let me repeat it slowly for you then. I'm not coming down to speak. I'm coming down to be a student, a spectator. I don't want you to let anybody know I'm there. I'm there to watch you and listen to you, to take notes on your culture, your environment, to listen to specifically what you're trained on, how you're doing it. I said, if the price to pay for me to be a guest is to come back some other time and speak, I'll do that. I said, but I'm here to learn. I'm here to learn. And so I'm heading down there Tuesday. There's a number of people, when I said I'm going out to make $1 million, here's what I did. Dan was first. Contacted him. Rich was second. Cash was third. Juan Jaime was fourth. June De La Cruz, DLC, was next. Then I contacted Sean Villalobos. Then I contacted John Cordero. Then I reached out to my buddy Paul Hart. Then I reached out to Fredo. And I just said, okay, I've got to start talking to these guys more. I got to start spending. June and Joyce are right over in Yorba Linda. My wife and his wife get along great. Our kids talk all the time because they've been on so many Hawaii trips together. So it's like, we need, but I can't remember the last time that we went out to dinner with June and Joyce. So I've got to change this. Why? To be congruent with my new vision. Guess who else needs to change it? You do. You do. You need to be conscious about it. And you may need me or Dean or Steve or Jim or somebody to help you with some introductions to some of the people, but you don't need to have any of these people on your list. Serge and Mary Beth, there's plenty of great people that are ahead of you that you can begin building these kinds of relationships with. Okay? Can I tell you what else we need as people are sort of rolling out? Oh! Okay, good. I just want to make sure somebody's covering our big shot guests. You need a coach / mentor. Somebody that you're direct reporting to that can give you ongoing, regular coaching and feedback. You know who that coach or mentor is? Yeah, it's Dean Sanderson. It's Steve Couttet. It's Steve Adams. It's Jim Maloney. It's me. That's who your coach or mentor should be. Guess what? All of those dudes are messed up. They're all very imperfect dudes. But they're still highly qualified to be your coach or your mentor at this stage of the business. They can get you access to overlapping leadership when you need it, when you're proving yourself. But you look past them because they're imperfect, and one time they didn't follow up on something that they said they were going to follow up on, or what, you're not hurting them. Is Dan a perfect leader? Nope. But Michelle and I sought Dan out. Why? Because he's achieved what I want to achieve. He's helped other people achieve what I want to achieve. He's a guy that's got my back. He believes in me. He's going to pour belief in me when the obstacles show up, when the adversity shows up, and I'm second guessing myself. He's going to be there from the start of this run to the end of this run. He's not going to abandon me or sort of leave me by on the sidelines. He's going to be there for me. You need to shift your relationship with your coach or mentor. You're too buddy-buddy, you're too passive, you're too winging it, You're not fighting for their time. You're not coachable at the speed of instruction. You're not there scheduling time with them to like take specific direction, take action on that, and then come back for more. You just sort of got this loosey-goosey, buddy-buddy type of relationship, which is cool, but it's not going to get you to where you want to be. All right, I think I should. The last part of my presentation, quite frankly, is the best. But I think we lost half the audience. I should probably save it for another time.
I'd say
Well, it would be fair to all the people who have guests,
Oh, well.
right? And Christine, you got somewhere to get to.
Can you say it twice?
Let me give you let me give you a sneak preview. Can I give you guys just a sneak preview, and then we'll go over it in
Yeah,
detail?
all the whole previous fine too.
Okay, I'll do it real quick. Oh God, there's so much to it. Okay, I'll just.
My appointment canceled.
Your appointment canceled?
Yeah, that was difficult.
I'm just going to give you a snippet, okay? Just a snippet, and then we'll do it more in depth, whether it's Monday morning full timers or Wednesday or next Saturday, whenever I get a chance to speak again. So, did you guys see that? Okay. 2001, right? We got 4 directs in June. We did 7 in the base. In the following month, we did 1. Then we did 5. Then we did 4. Then we did 5. How many of you can relate to that level of mediocrity when it comes to base shop recruiting? Say aye.
Aye.
Come on, you all can. Let's be honest. You've seen your
Seven,
numbers,
9 plus.
right?
Some of us even less.
Yeah, it's
Right?
We're less, that's what you're saying.
I don't know if I should
Let's be
be
honest.
honest.
How many of you can understand mediocrity when it comes to
Yeah.
base
Yeah,
shop
yeah.
recruiting? Okay?
There we go.
5, 5, 6, 5, 10, 9, 11, 10, 10, 10, 0, 8, 4, 2, 3, 5, 5, 6, 14, 6, 7, 18, 2, 5, 6. Have a couple of good months here and there and a bunch of mediocre and some really poor months. Mr. Superstar. Okay? Those are my real numbers. So I go from 0 directs, 2 base shop recruits. If you look at the top 3, the last 3 months, 2 base shop recruits in October or November of 2003, 5 base shop recruits in December, 6 in January, 19, 14, 19, 17, 19, 7, 16, 13, 24, 7, 7, 12, 16, 18, 15, 24, 29, 16, 14, 17, 30, 21, 15, 9, 45, 29, 14, 32, 30, 33, 31, 28, 55, 74, 16, 56, 81.
In 1 month?
80.
My base shop, not my whole team. My base shop. Like you and Izzy and Jeanette and Louie, like and Adam, like Dylan, yeah, like this group. But this little group I have right here is doing right now exactly what my little group was back in the day. 3, 4, 7, 2, 4, 6. And then you know what happened? We got clear on what we were doing, we got clear on what we were going, we punched a hole in the freaking sky.
That's right.
56, 81, 79. What's that? 150, 200, 10, 216 base shop recruits over 3 months. Wow. Pardon my French, that is some badass shit. You're doing 70 base shop recruits a month, 3 months in a row, that is some badass shit. There's no other way to say it. There's no pretty way to say it. That is monstrous, right? Then we chill out and just go down to 49. Next month, like, whoo, we're right, exhausted. 17, 20, 26, 18, 24, 47, 42, 17, 28, like, I know what it takes to take some little deal that sort of putzing around and shift it into a higher gear and then launch that thing and keep it launched for a sustained period of time. Guess what happened when that took off? Jim Maloney took off, Steve Adams took off, Lori Holopoff took off, Nikki Cannon took, like, my hierarchy was built during that stage. I'm building phase 2 right now. That's what we're doing, that's what I'm talking about. This is coming. What chunk of these are going to be yours? What chunk of the new associates, the new licensed agents, the apps, the cash flow, the trips, what chunk of that, are you going to get your unfair share, or are you going to go, no, I'm just going to be polite and thoughtful and conscientious of others and let everybody else get big helpings, and I'm just gonna continue to meander in my own little crumbs, whatever's left over. Because there's more than enough for everybody. But you've got to get clear on what does it look like December of 2020. Where am I going to go? What am I going to be making? What's my self-confidence going to look like? What's my relationship going to look like? Where am I going to be at December of 2020? Because this is what's happening between now and December 2020. We're about to do something stupid and big. Everybody's like, Jay, take over, blah, blah, blah. We got something brewing here that's, I'm just going to say we got something brewing here, okay? We got something brewing here, and it's going to be big, and it's going to be nasty, and it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. But for you to play at a bigger level and take on more of this, you can't do it telling yourself your old story. You can't do it with your old set of associations. I'm not saying get rid of your friends. I'm saying you need to create a new mastermind alliance, a new group of friends that is going to stretch you, that's going to sharpen you, that's going to pull you. I'm saying you've got to develop a new relationship with your coach and your mentor. You've got to put yourself under some pressure and accept some accountability because if I was ready to earn $1 million a year, I'd already be doing it. I've got to grow a ton to get myself there. This version of me is not going to earn $1 million a year. But I'm excited about the version of me that's going to, and I've put myself under tremendous pressure and accountability and coaching and mentoring and changing this because I want that. And it's not about what I have to give up or sacrifice to get here. Here's what I know. My life is going to be richer in every respect when I get there. Not just the financial is just a stupid way that we keep score. My relationship with my wife will be stronger, with my kids. Imagine the example that I'm setting for my kids for what's possible. Instead of telling them, hey, go to school, get good grades, and you can be anything you want to be. Well, Dad can't be anything I want to be because I've got a mortgage and I got bills and I got responsibilities. But you can be anything you want to be. Like, your action speaks so loud your kids don't hear a word you're saying. No, they're going to know through my actions anything's possible. Anything you set your mind to, you can go out and do. You can achieve because of the example that they've seen. And seeing how much it impacts so many other people's lives in such a positive way. We're not taking away from other people. We're creating value and lifting people up along the way. You're going to have to put yourself in the right kind of coaching and mentoring relationship and put yourself under some pressure and choose to do some hard things to build your self-confidence, to put yourself in position to get your unfair share of that. And I'm looking for people who want to be a part of that. I'm looking for people that go, you know what? I'm a little bit scared, I'm a little bit anxious, I'm a little bit nervous, but I want to do it. I want to do it. And just, can I know that I can count on you when I'm scared or nervous or when I'm in over my head to help me out? Yeah, I ain't going anywhere. I'm going to be here to help you out. I ain't quitting on none of you. But I'm looking for those individuals. We're going to have a crazy ride the rest of this year, and 2020 is going to be magical. And I hope that you're a part of it, okay? I'll get to the other juicy stuff next time I get a chance. Appreciate you guys. Have a great Saturday.
Hey.
Go talk to some people. Don't keep this inside you. Get clear on that